Good evening, one and all. So before we begin with our today's topic, just a few clarifications about the programs which we have seen. Okay, so we have seen StringBuffer and StringBuilder. I'm audible, right?
Yeah,
Hello?
sir.
Yes.
Okay. So we have seen StringBuffer and StringBuilder. Now about the size calculation, okay? So suppose, just a minute. We have seen three ways. One is when we specify without anything in the brackets, then when we specify the string inside the bracket, and when we specify the capacity or the integer in the bracket. Okay, so that time there are some ways in which we calculate the capacity. So if we do not specify anything in the bracket, the initial size of the string by default will be 16. Okay, see this point which I'm highlighting. Okay, if we don't specify anything in the bracket, then it is 16. But suppose we specify something in the bracket, that is if we specify the string, okay, the second case, then what will be the size is whatever string we specify. Suppose the string that we specify is Java, it has 4 characters. Java has 4 characters plus the default size is 16. Okay, so 16 plus 4, that is 20, will become the size, current size of this string. Okay, so for example, when we don't specify anything, and if I use this capacity function on the B is a string buffer object. On this, if I apply capacity, then size should be 16. Okay, so I'm running this and showing you. I need to run this one. See, size is 16. Okay, this 16. Now, when I store some string, okay, now you cannot store the string directly. If you are saying initially what I've done, I have declared and I have assigned the memory. Now I cannot write like this, b equal to string. Okay, this will not be possible for string buffer, string builder. You have to always use the append if you want to enter a string or append something. Okay, so when you append something, if its size is within 16, okay, then the capacity will remain same, right? If the size is within 16, capacity 16 only. So by this, I'm getting this 16, and by this, I'm getting the second 16. Okay, now I'm going to increase, I'm going to exceed my size. Okay, it's not going to remain 16. Okay, this is some size, and then I'm increasing the size. Okay, I'm appending again. So what will become my string? It's a new day addition. This will be my string now because I've appended addition to this string. This size is definitely increasing above 16. So the rule is to increase the size internally. What it will do, old size, or you can say current size, that is 16 plus 1, that is 17, and 17 into 2 is 34. Okay, so that is the way it will happen. That is by 34. Now, if I'm going to specify my string over here, for example, this case, here I've already specified the string. So here the initial capacity won't be 16. The initial capacity will be 16 plus the number of characters in the string which I have specified. Here there are 2 characters. So 16 plus 2. Okay, this will be the capacity. Let me run this and show you. Okay, as you can see, if I specify my string in the bracket, then the initial size will be default size 16 plus number of characters which I have specified, that is 18. Okay, now if I append something, key as, this is my string. This is still within the size 18. So now again, if I check the capacity, it will remain 18 only because I have not exceeded. So it will remain 18 only. Now I'm going to exceed. Okay, now if I go to exceed, I've exceeded the size 18. Okay, I've exceeded the size 18. So now the new capacity that will be generated will be old size plus 1, that is 19, into 2. And 19 into 2 is 38. So now if you check the capacity, it is 38. Is it clear? The difference between without specifying the string, default size is 16. But when you specify the string, the size will be 16 plus number of characters which you have specified. Is it clear?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Now, there's another case where you specify the capacity directly. That is this case.
So
Yes?
initially we didn't save anything in the string, means, and then we give the input as he. Then
Huh.
why we don't
Yes?
use that formula 16 plus 1 into 2?
Because by default the size will be, when you store suppose he over here, then by default the size that will be calculated will be your 16, okay, plus the two characters, that he ka two characters. This is the initial. When we are not specifying anything, the initial will be what? 16 only. Actually what it is, since you're not specifying anything, it is nothing but 16 plus 0 over here. Here there are 0 characters, so the size is 16 plus nothing, that is 0. But here, when you specify two characters, the initial size will be 16 plus those two characters. This is your initial size. Your starting string is he, and so the size is plus 2, 16 plus 2. And then if you show the capacity, it will be 16 plus 2, 18. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Only at the starting. Then if you exceed the capacity, means if it goes outside the range, then you'll apply that plus 1 into 2 formula. But for the first time when you're storing the string, okay, first time, that time only it will be 16 plus number of characters. Only if you exceed it, okay, only means second time onwards there's a possibility. Only if you exceed it, then only that formula. Is it clear?
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay. Now third variety, when you specify the capacity directly. Okay, so you are specifying the capacity as 12. So 16 will not be considered. Okay, so if I print my capacity here, it will not be 16 because I have specified it as 12. So as you can see, 12 is the capacity. Now, hello has 5 characters, which is within the capacity 12. So again, if I print my capacity, it will remain 12 only. I have not exceeded, so capacity will remain same. Now again, I am appending bigger. So now my string is actually, the string is hello bigger. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So total 11 characters. But I have my capacity 12. Have I exceeded? Can you tell me yes or no?
No.
No, correct. So still it is 12, as you can see here. Third time also 12. But now suppose I increase my capacity. Okay. Now the string that I'm going to append is bigger string, bigger str. Now it is going more than, this much was 11, then 12, 13, 14, 15. Now the capacity is 15, means the number of characters is 15, which has exceeded the capacity 12. So now you will apply 12 plus 1 into 2. Only if you exceed. Initially, whatever size is there, that is 12 only. Only if you exceed, you have to apply the formula 12 plus 1 into 2. So now if I run this, let me uncomment this. Now if I run this, you will see the output is 26. How? Because when I do 12 plus 1 is 13 and 13 into 2 is 26. Because I exceeded, I have applied the formula internally automatically and it is 26. Did you get the differences? When you don't specify anything in the bracket, the default is 16. And then if you exceed, you have to apply the formula. If you specify the string in the bracket, default will be 16 plus number of characters you have specified. Then if I exceed, apply the formula. And then apply the formula to what? To 18 over here. 16 plus 2. So apply 18. 18 plus 1 into 2. Okay. Whatever is the initial size, that is your, on that you'll apply. Similarly, if I specify the capacity, if I don't exceed, capacity will be 12 only in this case. Suppose I exceed, then 12 plus 1 into 2. Okay. Whatever is the first size, on that you will apply 12 plus 1 into 2. Are these three cases clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What about other? Yes. Okay. So this was
Yes,
about,
understood.
okay. String buffer. Okay, so these I had not mentioned it last time, so I felt like mentioning. Now let us begin with one small question that I'm going to give you. Okay, just to test your previous knowledge. Okay, now what you can see in the slide is, you can see that, just a minute. So you can see there is a main method. Okay, in some class I have a main method, and I have written something in the main method. Now I also have a user defined function increment. I have defined one function here. Okay, so here always execution will start from which function? Will it start from main or will it start from increment function? Can you tell me?
From main
Main
function.
function.
Main function.
Exactly. Yes. So in the main, first of all, x is equal to 1. Then this x I'm passing to my increment function. So from here, my control means the flow will go to this function definition. So it will what? How it will know where to go? It will see the function name. The name here is increment. It will go to the corresponding increment ka definition only. It will not go to some other definition. It will check for the function name and the parameters. So x over here, the value of x will get passed and get stored in this x, and then I'm doing x plus plus, and then I'm going to print x. Okay, all the statements in my increment function are over. All the statements in my increment function are over. So I'll go back to the wherever I had called the function. That means here I'll go back to wherever whoever had called me, who had called me here, I was called. So I'll return here, and then I'm going to print out the value of x again. Now before I tell you the output, can you tell me, can you guess what will be the output? There are
2
two
1.
print statements.
2
Tell
1.
me. Okay, you are saying 2 1.
The first line 2 and the next line 1.
Okay, so 2, and this one will give me 1. Okay, so as I think Prahlad has said, so x is equal to 1. You're passing 1 to the function. Okay, so here at this line, for the x in the main you have an x variable. Here the x is equal to 1. Okay, then this 1 will go to this parameter. So here in this function which you have defined, x is equal to 1. And on this x that you can see here, and this x plus plus, both are same x. Okay, same x variable. So x is equal to 1. By this line, x will become 2. Okay, means post increment conditions you have to apply, x will become 2. And then 2 you'll print out. Okay, so as we are seeing, we have entered the function, and the first print statement is coming from the function which we have entered, increment function. That print has got selected, and 2 will get displayed. Okay, so first thing that you said, 2 is correct. Now I'm going back to my main function. Now the x in your increment function, okay, and the x in your main function, are they same or different?
Same.
Different.
Same.
Different. It is local to that particular function.
Yes, exactly. So it is different. Okay, though the name of the variable is same. Instead of x in my increment function, suppose I had the variable a, then you would say that they are different. Okay, but see, a is local to increment function. Similarly, in our case, x is local to increment function. This x has its lifetime or existence or scope only within increment function. So the x that you have in your main function is completely different. So in memory, there will be two areas. Okay, there will be two areas. One is for the main x and one is for the increment functions x. Okay, both are different locations in the memory. So when you go to print out x in your main function, it is the main function's x. That means this x. This x is equal to 1 only. This has not changed. So this 1 will get printed. Okay, so whatever change you do in your increment function, it is for the x of that increment function. And whatever you do in your main function, that x is your main function's x only. Whatever you do change in your increment, that will not be shown in your main. Whatever change you do in your main, that will not show in increment. Okay, so as you said, answers 2 and 1. Very good.
Bhaiya,
Okay,
I have a doubt.
yes, yes.
Actually, I was practicing this function on my own, and then I wrote static, the function name, and I was trying to return some value like return 0, but eventually I was not able to return. It was showing some error. So I have to declare a variable where I is equal to 0 and then return I. So similarly, in the same question you just gave right now, don't we do we have to return some value, or will it like run automatically?
So in this case, we are not returning a value, void. Okay, but if you want to return a value, then instead of void, suppose you want to return 0, then I will write int over here. And here I have to add one statement like return 0, okay, within the increment function. And when this function execution is complete, I'm going to come back to here, this location. Now I'm going to return some 0. I'm going to return some value, which has to be caught somewhere, right? It has to be stored somewhere inside the main. So there I will put an equal to here and write here int y, suppose. So in y, the 0 will get stored. This 0 will come from here till the increment. Here, this thing will get replaced with 0. The function call is nothing but now it becomes 0. And that 0 you'll store in y and you can print y. But if you miss out on int y and you simply write int x, it may give you an error. Is that your doubt?
No, actually, I was trying to write return 0 and it showed error.
Did you take care of your return type over here? Was it int or
No,
void?
no, it was not void. I didn't root void. I directly root static and the function name.
No, something you have to write here. If you are returning integer, it has to be int over here. If you are returning float, it has to be float. If you are
No,
returning double, it has to be.
I wrote int, but okay, I'll send the picture of that error to you later.
Okay, okay. So yeah, that was about this. Now, variable arguments. So I was talking something about default arguments. It is a little different in Java. You don't have a direct way to do that. So just a minute. I want to check something. Okay, so here if you want to specify your default arguments, okay, then I have created this file for that. Yeah. So here we have two functions. One is sum, and okay, this is the sum function, and we have our main function. So what always read the program starting from your main. So here there's one message that I've displayed. Then I'm going to pass 1 to the sum function. So the sum function has been defined here. Okay, and there is a different way in which I have done it. Okay, for example, just give me a minute. So here I'm going to pass only one parameter, that is 1. For that I need int x over here, suppose. Okay, so we can pass one parameter, then we need, if we are passing one parameter, then we need to have one variable to catch it over here. If we pass two parameters, we need two variables. But sometimes what happens, for example, some cases maybe you want to store the status of the different traffic signals on the road. Okay, so sometimes only one signal is on, otherwise sometimes two signals are on, maybe sometimes 100 signals are on in that particular area. So for example, I'm telling, so you don't have a perfect idea how many values you want to pass through your function. So in that time, how will you handle this? Okay, so it has provided us, Java has provided us with a way in which we can use variable length arguments. Means here we can specify over here in this bracket, we can specify how many of our arguments in an easy way. Okay, so that way is by writing just give me a minute. Yes, so this is the function header. The way to specify your variable length arguments is int dot 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 arr. Arr is nothing but a name of an array. So how this works is, if you are passing one parameter, then in this array, okay, this is the name of an array. In this array, one will get stored. Suppose you pass two parameters, as in this case, 4 and 5. Then you're passing two parameters. So 4 and 5 will get stored in an array. And this array has variable length. So as you can see, I've not specified the name of the array or its size or anything. I've simply specified a name. And since because of this dot 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 3 dots, it is a type of array it will consider. Okay, this is especially for variable length arguments. This arr is nothing but an array. Now another case is you're passing 3 arguments, 3, 4, 5. This also will get stored in an array. Now how can you access these values is by this for each loop. Now another thing why I'm not using our traditional for loop like for int I equal to 0, I less than something. Now in place of I less than something, You do not know what is the how many values. You do not know that. So how can you say I less than what? Right? I do not know how many parameters I'm going to pass. Right? Sometimes I'm passing one, sometimes two, sometimes three. So how many parameters I pass, in this case, one will get stored in the array, one parameter. In this case, 4 and 5 will get stored in the array. In this case, 3, 4, 5. So how many elements are there in that array? For that, I want to print all those elements. So this syntax is definitely going to solve the problem, because for element in array, okay, you read it like that. If you're getting confused what is a, it is element. Is read as for element in array. For example, you in Python you write for I in list, that for element in array or for I in array. So I represents each of the elements of the array. Do you agree with me? Your element represents each of the elements of the array. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we are going to keep on adding those elements, right? Using this result plus equal to element. I hope you understand this line of code. So result is initially 0. So you'll do 0 plus first element, then 0, then whatever is in result. So I mean to say result is equal to result plus element. So initially result is 0. So 0 plus element will get stored in result. Then whatever is the value, it will keep on adding, right? I hope you know this. So, and finally, you're going to return the value of result. So now let us test if this is working perfect or not. For example, I'm passing only one parameter in my first case. So one I'm passing. So one will get stored in my array. And then for each element in array means element will be one. Element value here will be one because there's only one element and I have passed that as one. One I have passed. So this one will be, it will be represented by element. And initially result is 0. So 0 plus 1 will only happen because there's only one element in this array. So for loop will run only once because there's only one element. Which is that element? Can you tell me? What I have passed? I have passed 1, right? So which is the element in my array?
1.
1.
1, yes. So element will be 1 and there's only one element. So this loop will run only once. And now when I go to print result, the value of result should be 1. Okay, so I'm printing sum of 1 is here 1 should come. Okay, let me run this. See, sum of 1 is 1. Now let us pass two parameters and see. So here there are two parameters 4 and 5. So if they are stored in the array, I'm passing 4 and 5. So ARR of 0 will be what? Can you tell me?
1.
4. I have commented that one thing. Forget that previous thing. Now I'm passing only these two parameters 4 and 5. So what will be ARR
4.
of 0?
4.
Yes, 4. 4.
4.
Similarly, ARR of 1 will be what? ARR of index 1. What will it be?
5.
Exactly. Yes. So these are the two elements now in my ARR array. Okay. So I'm going to add 4 and 5 and store it in result. So result should display 9 now, 4 plus 5. Let us see. See, sum of 4 and 5, that is sum of 4 and 5 is 9. Now, if you don't want to run this loop like this, we can do one more thing. We can simply print out ARR of 0 and ARR of 1. So I'll write here ARR of 0. And on the next line, I'll also print ARR of 1 so that you understand that 4 is in first position and 5 is in second position. First position means index 0, second position means index 1. So as you can see, ARR of 0 means 4 and ARR of 1 means 5. Over here you can see. Is this clear how the array is working? It is working just like the array, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Similarly, we can run it for 3 parameters also. So now I'm going to run it for 3, 4, 5. So can you tell me what will be the output? 3, 4 and 5 I have passed. What will be the result value output?
12.
Exactly. 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 12. So result will be 12. Similarly, you can pass 4 parameters, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let us pass 4 parameters and see. So 12 plus 6, that is 18. passed 4 parameters in my array. Okay, I've commented the loop, right? So that is my for each loop. Okay, now the for each loop, I had commented it by mistake. So now we'll run it for the 4 parameters. So 18 should be the answer. We are adding it in result and then displaying result. So 18. Okay, so 18. This 4 and 5 is coming because I need to change this print statement. Okay, but you know that 18 is getting displayed. So is the variable length arguments clear to everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Should
yes.
I repeat anyone?
No, sir.
Others can also respond, like if you want me to repeat, no problem.
What is the role of dot there?
Dot 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 here represents the variable length arguments. Okay, this is the special syntax. If you give 2 dots, it will give you error. If you give 1 dot, it will give you error. If you give 4 dots, then also error. But 3 dots, you won't get error. This is the special way of saying that ARR is an array whose size we have not specified, right? We have not specified how many elements we can store in the array. This dot 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 signifies how many of the elements can be stored in this array. So at the backend, internally, the compiler or interpreter is handling the size of the array. That is why we can do that using dot dot dot. But we cannot use this as a normal array, like how we used to write int, then we used to write ARR, then brackets equal to something. Here you cannot use that dot 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 in this syntax. You can only use these 3 dots as a parameter in the function here, right? This is actually a parameter of the sum function. Is your doubt clear?
Yes.
Okay. So this was about this. Now I need to show you. Okay, now another thing that I have to show you is this one. Now something about if you have multiple classes in your program. Okay, so till now we used to have only one class in our program. That is the this. We used to have a class inside that main, inside that increment function, inside that sum function. We used to do all that. And if you notice this public keyword can be given over here for a specific purpose that we'll discuss in future. But when can you give public here? That is the question that I want to discuss. You can give public here only if the name of your class and the name of your Java file. Can you see the name of the Java file is what? Taking input.java. And the class name is also taking input, right? Class name and file name is same. Am I right? See here, this is the file name. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. So you can give the class name and the file name if it is same. Only then public is allowed over here. Suppose I remove this public from here, and if the class name and the file name is same, then it's okay. Okay. So remember, the file name and class name can be same. That time public does not matter. You can give public or you cannot give public. Okay. But there's some difference in that. But what I'm saying is you will not get an error. You give public or don't give public, you won't get an error, as you can see. But suppose you have multiple classes in your same file. For example, this one. Here I have the file name is what? Hello world.java. And I have two classes. One is hello world class and one is not hello class. Right? So in hello world class, I have something defined. In not hello class, I have something defined. Okay. Now, here you can see that one class has the same name as the file name, hello world, and here also hello world. So for this class, public is necessary or is it optional? Can you tell me?
Optional.
Optional.
Exactly, it is optional. Okay, you give or don't give, no error. But for this particular class, whose name is different, not hello is the name of this class. Here, if you give public, you will get an error. Okay? And the error that is showing is make not public. So it is suggesting you that don't make it public. Okay, because, and it is also telling that the class not hello, that means this class is public, and so it should be declared in another file whose name is not hello.java, right? What I said, if you give public, then the class name and your file name should be same. So that is what it is telling. It is telling me that if I'm giving public here, then this class should be defined in another Java file, and that file name should be not hello. Okay, that is why I should remove public from here. Right? So if you want to have multiple classes in the same file, then what you do, the main class from where the execution will start. It will start from the class whose name is same as the file name. Is this much clear?
Yes.
Okay. So here, hello world, public or don't give public, it is okay because its name is same as class file name. But if you have another class whose name is different, there you cannot give public. Here without public you have to work. Okay, now why public and what it does and all, that is later, but I'm telling you where you can give public and where you cannot. Is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
What about
Yes.
others?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is one thing that I wanted to tell. Now let us start off with object-oriented programming. Okay, so it's a very important topic. Preferably don't miss any class of this because each concept is linked to each other. So if you are late or if you miss out on some class, then you won't understand the consecutive classes. So object-oriented programming is a paradigm. It is a style of writing your program. You can write a program to calculate the prime number or find out the prime number. You can write it using your normal till now how we are doing. Main method, then functions. You can use all that. But the same program, you can write it in an object-oriented style as well. Okay, so it is a way of writing a program. It is not that you're writing some different program. It is the different way of writing the same programs. And this is because it has certain features. Okay, that features also we are going to see. It has certain important features, okay, that I have to show you. So what is a class? It is nothing but a blueprint or a template from, okay, just a minute.